Media advocates have slammed the lack of coverage and prejudice in the U.S. media of a Florida building collapse that killed 5 people and left more than 155 people missing, claiming that the deadliest unintentional building collapse in U.S. history has mostly gone unnoticed. More than 150 people perished in an apartment collapse in a major U.S. metropolis, according to activist Heshmat Alavi, and since it can't be used to justify killing some brown people in some faraway country, the U.S. billionaire-owned media elite has collectively waved those deaths off as not worth the time. More than 150 people are still missing after a 13-story residential high-rise near Miami fell 6 days ago, according to searchers. As prospects of finding survivors fade, U.S. officials have brought in search teams from Israel and Mexico. The Israeli and Mexican teams' exact duties have not been revealed. They are actually covering it a lot, but mainly to repeat stuff like how there's a heroic Israeli search and rescue team on site, how this never happens in America, and trying their best to tie this to President Biden's infrastructure bill, some activists said of the mainstream media's coverage. People have been quoted in the U.S. media as comparing the disaster to a mini 9/11. The way 9/11 continues to occupy millions of Americans' minds as the dominant conceptual framework for dealing with terrible situations. Clearly, 2 decades of raping, murdering, and uprooting a whole region were unable to dispel the sense of collective victimhood, Alavi went on to say. Another activist claimed that the U.S. media is hesitant to broadcast the collapse and the exact death toll since the subject quickly became about how the world's most advanced country can only bring out an average of 2 bodies each day. Another activist highlighted parallels between the Florida building collapse and the 2017 Grenfell Tower fire in London, claiming that the similarities are apparent and questioning whether the deadly catastrophe will elicit the same level of public indignation and protests in the United States. As rescuers pushed through the massive pile of debris for the 6th day, the investigation into what may be the deadliest unintentional building collapse in American history began. More than 2.5 years ago, the building managers were notified of the structural problems. While a number of bridges, overpasses, and buildings under construction break each year in the United States, the catastrophic collapse of an occupied building is unusual, according to reports, and investigators are baffled as to how it could have happened with such little warning.